Welcome everyone to Experts Digging In with Doggies for Dementia. My name is Carmen DeValis and I am the founder of Doggies for Dementia Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit with a mission to raise awareness from a place of love and compassion and kindness because the loneliness and stigma surrounded by dementia and that families impacted by dementia and those with dementia experience is real, and it's very difficult. It makes it so, it changes everything for them, and it's very painful, and actually makes physical problems worse. And so we're delighted to provide some education and some fun with a variety of experts. And today, oh my gosh, I'm really excited because we have Kathryn Harrison, who welcome, and who is an author and illustrator. This is one of her books, Weeds in Nana's Garden. You may have seen some of the little video clips. Sparky, our chief canine officer, has been doing some reading, Kathryn.
Has he been reading?
And welcome. And I just want to say really quick too, originally you had sent me this book. I don't know. Yeah, you signed it for me. So I've had it for a while. That's my grandson's mark on there, the crayon mark.
All right. Well loved, Mark.
Yeah. Welcome to our program. And I just know you have so many interesting things to share with our audience. And I'd like to begin with, what was it that led you to want to write a book for children to understand dementia?
So it comes to a personal story, which I'm sure is very often the case, that my mom had early onset dementia, and I had the experience of having young children as my mom journeyed through dementia. And we found out later that she had frontal temporal dementia or frontal temporal degeneration. So she was diagnosed when she was 62 and very young, and just the same time that my son was born, actually. So we had this weird experience of having my children grow up as my mom progressed through the disease. So it was natural for me, because my kids, as you know, are very aware of what's going on in their lives and in their family members. And they were very aware that there was something different about their Nana. I wanted to find books to help them understand because books are such a great way to share and talk about things and express what's going on. So I looked for books, and there weren't that many books. This was in about 2005. So we're going back a while now. Now, since then, there's been a flurry of new books, but that was my inspiration, was that I didn't have resources that I could use for my children. And I was looking and wishing that I did have them. And it was just a matter of time that my daughter actually gave me the idea for the book. So the concept of the book is how weeds in a garden, or sort of similar to how dementia takes over the brain and hides more of the thoughts and memories of someone, and their behavior changes because of the weeds. And it was my daughter, because my mom was a huge avid gardener. She had an incredible garden, a garden that would be on like house tours and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And as the disease progressed, just like mom progressing, the garden was changing, because nobody was looking after the garden anymore. It wasn't anything that we could keep our focus on. So the garden started to be overtaken, and my daughter noticed that when we went in the garden, we always used to pick bouquets. My mom was a big believer in having bouquets in the house. And so we would go and look for bouquets of flowers, and my daughter, when she was about 7, noticed there was not that many flowers anymore. So it was hard to find the bouquets.
The daughter who was a baby when your mom was diagnosed?
She was 3. Yeah.
3. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. As I was reading it, the symbolism for me, and I could put myself in that position of walking down the lane and seeing the garden and seeing the changes. And it was just so impactful because there are symbols for people, things they notice. It can be as simple as, well, the remote control, having troubles using the remote control now, or things that used to be like for your mom, that was a part of her essence, essentially, was the gardening and the love of the living plants. And then as you see that decline, it's just so so moving and difficult.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually wrote an article after this called Gifts from the Garden, and I kind of felt like it was my mom's gift to give us this garden that then gave us this book that's now giving this book to the world.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I think in almost everything there, it can be a curse or like a poison, right?
Right.
Unless it may curse or poison, but
A curse or
a
a
poison or a
blessing.
blessing. Yeah, yeah. Have that one really off. Yeah, and so when you can see the blessing in things that in from the first glance appear so dark and sad, there's a blessing there. And
Yeah, it's true. And actually, that's another reason why I was so interested in doing something for kids, because I felt like another blessing was my kids' experience of having someone with the dementia, like helped them sort of learn about this disease and expose them to it in a way that they wouldn't have otherwise. And I actually found that they were kind of strengthened by the purpose that they played in caregiving. Like, for
right,
example, my son, I have this beautiful photograph of my son helping adjust my mom's wheelchair. So he's only 5, but he knows how to work that wheelchair, and he's going to stop and make sure the right, it's the right size and the right angle. It gives him a sense of purpose and power that he might not have had if this disease hadn't
right.
affected us. Yeah.
Right. And that compassion,
And the
when your kids
compassion.
see someone, they have an understanding already.
Yeah.
And which is a big part of what we both do, right? Is that education and the wish for people to understand more. And when we think about diseases, in that, dementia is one that we don't have a cure for. We're not even sure how to prevent it and
Right.
how to treat it along the way. We've come a long way since 2005, and we have a long way to go. And the numbers are scary. The numbers are huge. And to think about something that you're not seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, it makes people want to shy away, which is exactly what happens. And we have, like, physically we'll move away,
Yeah.
and unless it's something we are experiencing at the time, because it's just too much. Um, and then so some of us, like, you're part of it, right? We look for a way, then how do we bring that to show that the other parts of it, and from a place of compassion and love and kindness, instead of all fear-based.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to run from fear. That's what we do,
Yeah, it's true.
and
And it's hard, Yeah.
it's very hard. And for someone experiencing dementia and the family around them, there's still a lot of they're humans, and they're like the photos with dogs and things. We're people, we love our animals, we still have fun, we still have feelings. And
Just a second. Sorry, I'm going to have to pause it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. She just said, I said, I'm on a call. Do you need me? And she's like, no, it's okay. So she just didn't know.
Okay. That's all right.
Thank you.
Um,
She's 18, and this is a stressful time for her. Yeah, she's like senior year. And
that's interesting. So your daughter's 18 now, and so it was little in 2005. Can't believe it. Two things. One, I'm 62 now, so I'm putting myself in the place of your mother, and I'm 62, and I still feel like I am in some ways the prime of my life. I'm now, like, living this dream that I hadn't even thought of before, and second career and all of this, and the impact for someone 62 realizing that their cognitive ability, their abilities, and especially with frontal temporal, because that you might want to explain a little bit about that, because I know Alzheimer's is the most popular. People familiar with Alzheimer's and frontal temporal, you might see different things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of things did you start to see with your mom?
So the speech was big. So she was that was actually sort of an early sign, because she was a very chatty person, and she would lose words for things, and she would use her hands. Like if she said, "I need to find the," and we were like, "Scissors." So that kind of thing would be one of the things that happened.
Yeah.
She also went through a strange food thing. So she gained lots of weight, because she kind of didn't have ability to control like her hunger or anything. That seemed to go away. And she was stressed because there was changes going on that she didn't really understand what was happening. So she did gain a lot of weight as well.
Right.
And it was faster. I think that's one of the biggest things about PICS or FTD, is it's so much faster. So from diagnosis to death was 7 years. So.
Yeah, and it might surprise some listeners. One of the false assumptions I hear so much is that dementia as a whole is a short course, and in truth, it's
Right.
not. It's not for most. And 7 years is relatively short, and
especially at 62, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was our big clue that it wasn't Alzheimer's, because it was so fast.
Right.
And losing judgment of what was appropriate was also earlier.
Yeah. That's part of in clinic, I would explain, and for frontal temporal, there's like a filter there that keeps us from, our impulse might be like, or to do, but we have controls for that.
Right.
For various reasons, for like, oh no, that's not cool,
Exactly.
But with frontal temporal or brain
PICS
problems affecting that part of the brain, there's like holes in that filter, and things get through. And so people say things they wouldn't ordinarily say, or do things that are just like, that's not typical. But to them it makes total sense. And it's a tough one. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't want to forget, I want to go back to your daughter who's 18 now. Yeah. And so with regard to your mother and the books and the writing, so this isn't your only book. There's another one too, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to show that. I only have the PDF.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
It's called I Smile for Grandpa. And this one, there's a little dog, and it's a grandfather figure for Sparky to see.
Yes. I need to get that one. I don't have it right here. Sparky needs to read that one too, because it's perfect.
Yeah, this one was created as a collaboration with a woman who's also from Canada named Jaclyn Guenette, and she actually works in care homes. And she had the story that she approached me, I guess it was 2016 or 17, and had the story, and we worked together on publishing. I did the illustrations and publishing the second book, because we really wanted to round out having one for a grandfather figure as well, for grandmother figure. And I'd also say this one is slightly skewed, just a little bit younger. Again, because we felt like there was a need for young kids, which is why there's Doggies, so that even the youngest kids, again, you can't escape that there's something happening to a person with dementia. The kids are fully aware. Right. And if you don't acknowledge it, then that's what it just becomes less effective for them. The relationship's stressful for people, and for kids to get to know that something's happening, and that it's something that they can be better understood. So yeah, that's why we created this book too.
Oh yeah. Well, little kids, I mean, they have no filters either. I mean, they're
Exactly.
like, what's wrong with you? I mean, they'll just ask, like, what?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Do you think that the the your daughter's growing up and experience at a younger age has impacted her now? I know it would be hard to know how she would be now at 18 anyway, but you know how they view the world or dementia? Is she involved or anything?
Well, she wants to be an health scientist, so she's aspiring for nurse practitioner or medicine or whichever way the path will take her. I don't know if it's because of her early experience or not, but she
Um,
seems to be really interested in the help profession of helping people.
yeah,
I like to think that maybe it was because of that.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's we still have a huge mural of my mom on the wall. We talk about her still. They were part of the experience of her, even though they were young, that my kids were part of the experience. And a lot of it is positive at this stage. Like that's what we focus on and remember. And they were a part of her life. And when she was in a care home, it was a really positive part of my life to have my children part of the care home. And that's actually why Jaclyn, who wrote I Smile for Grandpa, was so keen as well to write a book for kids, because she worked in a care home environment. And she said, whenever, just like when dogs come into a care home, when kids come into a care home, it's just this huge positive blur of energy, magical energy that fills the room. And so we wanted to have books that would encourage that and have kids come and visit and bring that energy into the whole experience of having dementia. So
Yeah.
bringing kids in, having them enjoy it, having them be part of it. Yeah, it's really not it's a win-win, really.
Yeah. And there's more and more research showing exactly what you observed. And not that we needed the research, right? We saw it. And I wonder if it isn't that with children and with dogs or pets, the expectations are dropped and you just get to
Yes.
be. You can just be and experience that joy and the laughter and not worry about
Right.
anything else for a little
Yeah.
while, which is really a gift.
We always used to say, like, I mean, it's really hard when your loved one has dementia to not like kind of reflect on what's changed, like to say, oh, now they don't remember so and so's name anymore, or they don't remember how to do up their buttons or whatever. There's always that. It's hard for us adults to escape that, but kids don't care at all.
Yeah.
There's
No.
no like, what? Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
about what's now. And
So true. One of the gentlemen in I wrote a book. It's called Just See Me, and there are 13 family stories. And one of the gentlemen was a super high achiever, banker, worked a lot, just a lot of work, didn't have a lot of fun. And one of the things, his son, who had triplets, and he said one, yeah,
oh,
you know,
yeah.
and he said though, growing up, his father was loving, but he wasn't like he is now with his triplets, and that it brought him such joy to see his dad playing games and doing art projects with the kids and loving it and not worried about being perfect or what phone call needed to be taken or anything else, just being totally present with the kids. And he said, I don't think I ever would have seen that side of my father
Hmm.
had this not happened,
Yeah.
because he's just a super high achiever. That was like, and that was what he was known for, his personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a similar story. I mentioned my mom was like on garden tours, and so she actually ran a bed and breakfast, so her house was always perfect, right?
Mhm.
And I remember a Christmas where the kids were helping her decorate the Christmas tree, and at just one moment, she just carelessly flung a decoration on the tree. And then my 3-year-old son at the time was like, what? And then he just like, okay,
Yeah.
and then we proceeded to, it was the messiest, craziest looking tree ever. But it
Mhm.
was such a fun, I mean, I still think about it. It was 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And I never would have seen that with my mom.
Yeah. I was speaking with someone yesterday. I think there's magic in the mundane, and that, like, in an emergency situation, let's say maybe your pipes are busted and you're bursting in, like we were
You can't.
last week, right? You say, like, run in and grab your valuables, and is it really the high techy, pricey items you're going to grab, or the memories, the things that really mean something to you? And it's usually the memories people are going to grab, the things, the little things that mean so much, that have very little financial value to them, but they mean the world. And it's magic in the mundane.
Yeah.
It's magic in the mundane. And one of my favorite things is to photograph lifestyle. So I go in people's homes and I just hang out. I'm like, I'm gonna take you do your normal
Cool.
things. And because I now, as an adult, I would love to have seen what it was like growing up with my brothers in the home, and what was our house like, what was our living room like, and what were our expressions to each other. And I don't have memories of those, and I would love to be able to. Those would be treasured for me, just treasured. And
You're right.
but
We
I
don't
would
do
choose
that.
that any day over a posed picture in the park, right? When we're all, like, threatened to behave.
It's
Yeah,
true. Yeah. There's
yeah,
not there. We definitely are a society that ends now with, like, social media, and my teenagers, they're always quaffing to before the photo on TikTok or whatever, on Snapchat. Or although
yeah,
they do actually, I do find the Snapchat is a little bit like in the moment. So
right.
maybe they're
Yeah,
finding ways to, but yeah, we can always use more ways to be in the moment, and
yeah.
that's what little kids and dogs can really help for.
Oh, they're the great equalizer. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're the president of the corporation, if a dog,
And
oh my goodness, look at that, and carry on. It's an equalizer, and kids do.
exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard you mention mosaic. I know you're an artist. I don't think I said enough about the beautiful illustrations in your book. They really are. And I'm just, yeah, I was just really, I have to show it again. So let me find one with a lot of the flowers, because it's really just incredible. And so, can you see? You see a little bit, right? I mean, they're gorgeous. And from an artist standpoint, I'm just wondering if you found that there was some healing in the artist, in the creativity for you.
Oh my goodness, yes. Girl, you're right on. Like, I couldn't do the book right away. It was too close or something to, yeah. But as I painted them, because the illustrations are actually paintings, let me just show you.
Yeah.
Things.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it's beautiful. How long did it take for you to be able to process, to tell the story?
Well, she passed away in 2010, and I published the book in 2016. So
Yeah.
5 years ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's unusual. I mean, you're part of All's Authors. I'm a part of that as well. It's a nonprofit where authors, it's great resources. You want to find books written, and many are written by caregivers, right? And
Yeah.
experience, and we were saying sometimes the negativity associated with dementia, and when you start reading the stories, it's just so human and so beautiful. And again, and I'm going to say it right this time, the blessing. There's too much, right? There's a blessing in everything there. And the art, writing can be healing, and the creativity, and the
Yeah.
creativity.
And the reading of these other people, if you're not a writer, or if you read these other people's books, it's amazing how healing it is, because it just shows the strength of humanity, the strength of love. Like, so much about caregiving is about love, like completely raw
Yeah.
love.
Yeah. Yeah. The tough, the rough, the beautiful,
Right.
the moving.
The
Yeah.
ugly, the real, authentic. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So- and I think that's partly why it also took me a while to do the book, because I think I wanted to be a little bit detached first so I could kind of like not get as emotional during the creation. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
Although
totally.
I did cry, I think sometimes when I was painting.
Yeah. I told people stories who, they weren't in the position to write themselves, or the timing, and just like what you're explaining. And I don't know what I thought I was, I don't know, writer. It was like this epiphany for me. I don't know if you knew that, but it was like, you need to tell these stories. And that I never even took a photography class. I was, very, I had a camera and I learned. It never got off automatic. I didn't know anything about that, but I learned. And for some reason I had this vision I could do it. And it was a calling. It was, calling is when it doesn't matter how many times you put it on the back of the shelf or say no to it, it keeps popping up. It keeps popping up. And I'm like, okay. And in telling their stories, which is a huge responsibility, even as I'm writing their stories, I was feeling so moved by each and every one. And I needed to separate myself from it. And I can't imagine if it was, I became a part of that story, but not like the direct caregivers did, right? And
Right.
If that would, I can't imagine. And also the difficulty and the emotional piece of it, but also the healing part that came out of it, and being able to honor your mom with the story, a beautiful
Yeah,
story. Yeah.
definitely. I felt like it was like sort of her last gift to the world or something that to me, like she was such a beautiful person and such a wonderful mother. So it was such an honor for me, yeah, to honor her with this book and help other people. Um, yeah, I feel really happy that I had the opportunity. I was going to art school really to help me with my mom's dementia, because I was finding it really challenging to have to deal with it, as many of us
Really?
do.
My mind was going to ask you next. Were you an artist before? Or no?
So, I mean, I've always loved art, but I'd never been to art school. And then I started taking classes as a means of healing or helping me cope with the stress of mom's dementia. And then I just kept going and decided I would go for a diploma and work on it. And it took over my life. And I felt like I so belonged in the whole world. I went to a Toronto School of Art and earned my fine art diploma. And that was a gift that mom gave me too, because I don't think I ever would have gone to art school. I don't know, maybe, but
Right. That was just part of your path. And wow, how your life would be different, right? Yeah. Yeah. In retrospect, I think when we open up and look at things, there are just so many gifts in there that and that seems to be a real common theme for caregivers who then go on to create some form of honor for their loved one. Is that I probably would never have done this had it not. I hear podcasters. I probably would have never had a podcast. I probably never would have written a book, wouldn't have done this. And like, interesting that it became a part of your journey. Yeah.
It's true. And like for those of you that are in it right now, like know that you will find a window will open or a door will open, and you will find a way to survive this. I mean, you are surviving it and doing it, but
yeah. Thank you for that. And I think it's really difficult at the time in learning. And so many people, one day they're not a caregiver, had no idea they would be. The next day they're expected to be a caregiver, and it's just so much to learn, and so many changes. And it's almost like being a parent, and you think you know how it's going to be, and then you're up all night with the baby and you're like, nobody told me about this. And this is really hard. And people tell you like, oh, it'll go so fast. But during the days you're doing them like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling this going so fast. Right. But then when you look back, maybe you're feeling this now, 18-year-old, like, man, those beginning years went so fast.
Yeah, it's true. I always think about, when I see new parents, I'm like, if you knew, you wouldn't believe me.
No, no, I think my mom told me that because I could tell you stuff, but you wouldn't believe me. Like, yeah, because I know it all already. Yeah, nobody does. Nobody.
But it's good. I mean, you survive it, and yeah, and there's just you have these moments of amazingness, and then there's moments where you step on the Lego piece and you're
yeah. You see, and even that you remember and can laugh about it, right? Because it's a magical mundane again, the Lego. I'm pretty sure if you ever showed a picture of a Lego on carpet and it's in dim light, like at nighttime, every parent would be, oh yeah, I've done my share of those, right? This is part of it. Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Well, this has been delightful. I want to close and ask you what's next for you? What's next for you? Yeah.
Well, I'm actually been working with this company in Denmark, and we're just about to launch the books in Danish and hoping to also do it in Norwegian and maybe Swedish. So that's exciting times on the books. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And is it in other languages also now besides English?
Yes, it's both books are in French and German, and also Weeds is also in Portuguese. And these are all people that have volunteered to translate it for me, and then I worked with them to launch it into the. So we can really say that it's available around the world. Yeah.
Wow. Well, the links to the book will be in the description for the video. And also in the, if you're watching this, you're probably in the blog. So it'll be right there in the blog. And leave your comments, ask some questions. I mean, we're right here. This is the beautiful thing that we take, like you're looking around and you see the book. Right here's the author. And I just think that's the coolest thing. Isn't that one of the beauties of technology? There's struggles. I'll build out for that. But one of the beauties is that it brings such amazing people right to our desk. And yeah.
It's true. All the way to Texas to Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
And around the world. And actually all the people that helped me translate the book, it's all been through online, right? Yeah. Never met. Yeah.
Yeah. And then all the authors, they're just all connected and all for the good, all for the betterment. And again, to feel that place of bringing dementia from a place of the heart, right? From compassion and kindness and love. And I truly believe, and it's a big part of our mission, is that we can see a more kinder, compassionate world for everyone impacted by dementia. And we've got a ways to go. We can do better. We can do better. Yes. We're working on that, aren't we, Kathryn?
Well, I was in the world of marketing and advertising before my mom's caregiving experience, but the caregivers, like professional caregivers that I had the pleasure of meeting because of my mom's dementia, they did definitely restored so much faith in humanity for me, like so giving, so kind, so generous, so hardworking, and relentlessly do whatever they need, committed to to my mom. They were so committed to my mom. So yeah. There's a lot of beautiful people in this world, and we just don't celebrate them enough.
You're right about that. You're really right about that. And some of that has come to light with the pandemic, and for those in long-term care and memory care and the lockdowns, it's been, don't even get me started on all that. It has just been a lot. And what some have surfaced, and we featured some here too, is the stories behind that. And just such a yeah, a lot of beauty out there. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing your bit of beauty, and for agreeing to have Sparky read your books. And
I hope he enjoys it.
oh yeah, I'm sure he does. He's our chief canine officer. That's his job.
All right, great. Thanks, Carmen.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay on us.